Hello again, my friends, and welcome to another episode of Ghoulish Diversions, with your host, Jasper Gallows. One cannot deny the power that art possesses across all mediums: written work, visual art, music, cinema, television, video games, anything and everything in between. One such artist that transcends multiple forms of media that I truly hope is known to more than I realize is Joseph Vargo. Joseph has stated, like most of us connoisseurs of the macabre, that as a youth, I tended to gravitate toward horror movies, monster models, and anything that could possibly warp my young and impressionable mind. And he also recalled, my sister and I used to rush home from school to watch the old Dark Shadows TV series. I was constantly drawing, and the subject matter was usually some sort of monstrous creature. He admits that Frank Frazetta heavily influenced his early stylistic development. Frank Frazetta is known as one of the pioneers of modern fantasy illustration and was 82 at the time of his death in May 2010. Now, it didn't take Vargo long to craft his own unique style that wasn't quite as visually powerful as Frazetta's work, but it was a bit more subdued. And it also incorporated imagery that captured the beauty of all things dark. The early 90s mainstream art community still held rather pessimistic views towards his style of art. Now, this made it difficult for Joseph to promote his work and make a name of himself. He then decided to take matters into his own hands and formed his own company, Monolith Graphics, in 1991. Though, through his company, he sold art prints, calendars, and t-shirts that all had his art on it. 1 year after the creation of Monolith Graphics, Christine Philippak joined the company. She's a graphic designer that's computer expertise greatly complemented Vargo's talent. He said that he recalls that they started printing a line of posters and calendars in a black and blue duotone. And the biggest reason was because it was simply cheaper to print using 2 colors versus 4. Not long after, that black and blue duotone was adapted to Vargo's art, and it more or less became his trademark colors. Vargo opened a Gothic art gallery, the Realm Showcase of the Fantastic, which showcased not only his art, but that of various popular fantasy artists. Between 1998 and 1999, he once more pushed his creative bounds even further and produced, financed, directed, and performed on 2 Gothic-themed albums, Born of the Night and Realm of Shadows. Vargo also performed in a host of rock bands in the 80s and produced several CDs for the Halloween industry in the late 90s. Not one to rest on his laurels, Vargo continued to show his many-sided talent and evocation of all that is ghastly, and published and illustrated Tales from the Dark Tower in the year 2000. This collection of 13 short stories were inspired by many paintings of his own. The stories focused on mysteries that surrounded a medieval tower inhabited by cursed vampires and other lost souls. Vargo wrote many of the stories. However, there were several emerging writers whose talent was lent for this project. Vargo himself said the primary intent of the project was to give some talented but relatively unknown writers a chance to be published. The book received recognition across the world and was followed by 2 sequels: Beyond the Dark Tower, released in 2011, and Return to the Dark Tower in 2015. There was also a soundtrack titled The Dark Tower, which was released in 2011 as well. In 2001, Vargo created and published a quarterly magazine titled Dark Realms. The purpose was to showcase the work of talented, albeit lesser known, Gothic artists, bands, and writers. Now, this is something that he has also noted, that even though he wasn't really given this opportunity by many, if any, when he was trying to really emerge and show the world his work, he still felt this was an important thing to do to help people that are in the same position that he was in so long ago. And for that, I absolutely commend and applaud him. The magazine did run from 2001 to 2008 and had a total of 32 issues. Now, unfortunately, I did not learn of this magazine until well after its demise, but one day I do hope to get my hands on an issue or so. Now, as we all know, it isn't uncommon for Gothic imagery to be incorporated with tarot and the like. Vargo released the Gothic Tarot in 2002, and it features 78 images that showcase not only his existing, up to that point, art, but new art that he had created solely for that project. And then 5 years later, Vargo co-wrote the Gothic Tarot Compendium, which delved into the understanding and use of his deck. Now, in 2003, Vargo formed Nox Arcana. And this is actually how I learned of Joseph Vargo myself, was through this musical endeavor. Now, it was formed with the help of William Piotrowski, and the duo began composing a brand of unique and haunting concept soundtracks. Joseph's many talents shone as he not only composed and performs the music, but he writes all the narratives and lyrics as well as performs the vocals for each track. Now, to date, Nox Arcana has released over 24 albums that include over 470 original compositions. Vargo conceptualizes the theme for each album. He'll write the backstories, create the artwork, and a lot of the CD packages, which I know CDs are more or less obsolete these days, but with some of the art and whatnot, he would also create and put in these puzzles. And then they all just kind of worked together. Nox Arcana's music is used during a lot of Halloween events at theme parks, including Busch Gardens, Six Flags, and Universal Studios. And the music is also featured exclusively on the Travel Channel's TV show, America Haunts. Monolith Records also released a dark adventure game titled The Cabinets of Dr. Arcana in 2018 on Steam. The game is based on the Theater of Illusion, and the story is centered around a secret society of magicians who possess actual magical powers and lurk in the shadows of our world. I look forward to sharing more of what this dark realm has to offer, and many thanks to you for your time. Who are some of your favorite artists? They can be multi-talented, such as Joseph Vargo, or they can have their focus on any other medium. I would love to hear about them. And who knows, I may already be working on a video specifically about them. I will have another episode for you soon, and I'm sending you all the love that my black heart can muster. Have a sinister day.